Okay, we're live. Welcome. We've got with us today Darren Connell, who's a Scottish stand-up comedian and actor who's maybe best known as for playing Bobby in the BBC mockumentary Scot Squad. Welcome.
Thank you for having me on, guys. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Good to have you here.
We've known each other for probably since 2011 or something.
Yes, it's a couple of years now, mate.
Yeah.
A while.
Yeah, and in a past life I was doing stand-up comedy, depending on who you ask. And that's where we met.
Yeah, we met in the circuit.
On the circuit.
And then you disappeared for a while, and then you reappeared looking really good. You know, probably because you stopped doing stand-up for a while. You were into your fasting, and I remember you were taking vitamin D and wee 5-minute sunbeds and stuff.
That's right, aye.
And I was like, oh, aye, what's the deal with this guy?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I don't know why you stopped doing stand-up. You were very funny.
Oh, thanks.
And you were certainly, when other acts were talking about you, your name was always getting mentioned. So I take it you just get a girlfriend or a better job or something.
It was funny actually because I think about it a lot. You know what it's like yourself doing places like the Stand in Glasgow.
Yeah.
Where it's maybe a Saturday night or a Tuesday when it's the cheap student night and it's filling up and you know you're going to go on and you know your act goes across pretty well. So the anticipation of that, like I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. And then when you actually do it and it's good, it's such a great feeling. I kind of got to the stage where this is like my act at the time was kind of weird, I suppose, like sort of deadpan. It culminated in me doing a Edinburgh Fringe show that was a musical about a fictional pet clown. So it was pretty strange kind of material, and I suppose like at the time when I was doing all that, I wasn't in the best place mentally sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes I was kind of struggling a bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know if like doing all that was kind of partly an attempt to deal with that, like writing to get it out of my system or something, or make sense of anxiety, depression, kind of why the world wasn't very enjoyable at times.
Yeah. And
then like you mentioned how I'd started to take vitamins and get out in the sun or go in the sunbeds when it was winter here and look after myself a bit. And it was weird, like changing the way I ate and doing stuff like that really changed my kind of attitude on all sorts of things, and I got much happier.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really connected to that weird material or attitude anymore. So I was doing it all the way through up until November 2016, where I was in the final of this competition, the Scottish Comedian of the Year competition, and the promoter Alan tries to make the final in as cool a place as possible. And that year it was the Barrowlands, so I was really excited to play the Barrowlands. So if anyone's not from Glasgow, it's like, I mean, what's the Barrowlands? It's like maybe the most famous venue in Scotland for music. People like David Bowie have played there, and like going all the way back, it's all the greats.
Everyone will know what it is, even if you don't come from Scotland. If you said the Barrowlands, I'm sure they would know.
Yeah,
Famous for its springy floor.
Yeah. Aye, the bouncy floor, aye.
Yeah, and the stars
outside, yeah.
On
the great facade outside.
Yeah, neon sign. And so that I was with lots of my pals on the bill, like Stephen Buchanan, Roscoe McClelland, CMB, Mark Jennings, and Stuart McPherson, all that mob, and it was just such a great night. And it had come at a time when I was kind of in that happy stage, and I was doing, I was in full tilt into reading about nutrition and all the rest of it. I just kind of thought, I'm not going to get a better gig than that. playing to whatever it was, 600 people, where it went pretty well with all my pals. And I thought, right, that's it for just now. That's it. So I'm not ruling out doing it again, but I think it would be, the way I would express myself doing stand-up would be totally different. I don't even know what that would look like now.
Yeah, I understand what you mean by that. Because people can be quite... That's why I've always liked you, because I've always had an obsession with nutrition and trying to lose weight and being healthier. And I've noticed a change in me since I've stopped drinking, that I would always say, oh, I'm the fat guy, or I would do fat jokes. But see, now that I'm in a peaceful place, I don't go to that area.
Mm-hmm.
So, or when I do it as a joke, I'm like, I'm not selling this. This is not me anymore. Or I used to always say, oh, I've not got a girlfriend, or that kind of angle. It was always obviously a joke.
Mm-hmm.
But now when I do it, it just doesn't seem natural anymore.
So for both of you, would you say that some part of your comedy was coming from an unhealthy place? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I think my take on it is that from the audience point of view, they can connect with feeling inadequate,
right,
and are just happy. There's two things maybe. They're just happy it's someone else, and they connect with it and laugh out of relief because it's not just them.
Right, so it's kind of cathartic.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus the circuit's not a healthy place either.
Right.
I don't think... I heard Frankie Boyle say this one time. Nothing to do with politics. The actual physical process of being a stand-up comedian is not healthy.
Right.
To experience that intense nervousness and adrenaline, it just cannot be healthy for you. I mean, I'm a professional now. I don't get nervous. I used to get nervous maybe 4 days before the gig. I get nervous 5 minutes before I get called on stage now. But it's the same nervousness. It's the same, what am I doing with my life? Why am I doing this? I'm rattling. I'm fighting being sick.
Really?
My knees are clinking together with nerves.
So you're kind of invaded by self-doubt and stuff, right?
I don't even know if it's self-doubt. I think it's just a physical response to doing that.
Okay.
Just because as soon as I'm up there, I love it, talking into the mic. But it's everything else. I'm just like, why am I doing this with my life? It can't be. I don't think it can be physically good for you.
Mm-hmm. I agree. You get this like surge of fight or flight stress hormones,
right,
and it can make you quite capable in the moment. So if you're used to riding it, then you can be wittier if someone's heckling you or whatever, because you're so nervous.
right.
Yeah.
If you're kind of used to it, and you're able to stay on course and not be thrown by someone doing that, then it can actually, obviously that's how you're designed by evolution, is if something scary happens, you should be able to cope with it in the moment. But then...
But you've got to cope with it in a comedic way.
Yeah, I know,
right.
I know. And the downside is that afterwards, you crash, and you start craving, like it makes you crave bad foods, I think.
100%.
Right. Well, I was going to say, or ask, does the nerves at the beginning, is it compensated for by the feeling afterwards, or sort of elation or anything afterwards?
Yeah, it's pure relief. I mean, it depends how the gig goes. If you do well, it's amazing. You feel fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm quite lucky now that I haven't had a really bad gig in a while. I've had passable gigs and stuff when I thought I could have done better, but I haven't died in my arse in a long, long time.
Yeah.
I think that's just because I do it all the time now, and I can deal with or see a situation when it's not going that well.
Mm-hmm.
And plus I can take it better if I die in my arse now as well, because I'm not... It's like a chronic people pleaser. Can everybody please love me? But then you just realise that sometimes you win some and you lose some, and that's just life.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing to do with stand-up. So you can't go into your work every single day and have an amazing shift, can you?
Yeah.
It's the exact same with stand-up. But sorry if that's a bit dark. It's a bit dark, isn't it?
That's all.
No, don't think so.
That coffee's kicking in, man. My face is going numb.
There's plenty more where that came from.
Oh.
So you found that after a gig you would quite often turn to eating junk food, did you say?
Aye, and I think that there's like a common belief that maybe even amongst comics that because you're driving and there's nowhere open, that you'll either get a really shit takeaway or you'll stop at a service station and get what's there.
Right.
But I honestly think that it goes beyond that. Is that even if you had a packed lunch with you and it was healthy, then you would still be like, I'm going to rattle 3 bags of Revels or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because like I think your blood sugar goes haywire when you've been stressed.
Yeah. It's definitely some strange reward scheme in place. I'm gigging tonight, I've done well, so I'm going to do this.
Right.
But I have came off stage and I'm like, I need sugar. I don't have a healthy attitude with food regardless of stand-up, but when I come off the stage I'm like, I need sugar, I need junk food, I need the worst food possible, like pizza and chips and cheese and curry sauce and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't really eat that in a normal situation,
Mm.
but when I do stand-up I'm like, I need that, instantly need it.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes when you've done well at something, it's as if the rules don't apply for a wee period afterwards.
Yeah.
That's your reward. You can do it.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
Yeah, that certainly applied when I first started doing gigs. When there's usually a period where maybe most of your gigs don't go very well unless you're someone who's just like got it straight off the bat. But then when gigs start going well, that's like a revelation. It's unbelievable. And I would use that often as an excuse to drink a lot.
Right.
So I would quite often drink quite heavily after a good gig, and kind of buy into the idea that it was like being, as drunk as a poet on payday, or some kind of romanticised version of it. I don't really know why I did, but it was unhealthy for sure. The whole circuit, I think, what you're saying is like beyond just the stress thing, constant stress. There's a culture, partly because gigs take place in licensed premises.
Yeah.
Where you're almost half expected to get drunk after.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I was thinking about this in the last couple of years of my life. I've always tried to improve my life, and I'm thinking I did my very first gig when I was 18 years old, and then I never did it again until I was 24.
You did a course, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did the course. Yeah, when I was 24, I did at the Metropolitan College. It was just a stand-up comedy course, 10-week course. Because I did it when I was 18, I had no clue about the circuit. Didn't even know what a compere was or what the word opener meant. So I went there and I did that.
Whose course was it?
It was Charlie Ross.
Oh, I know Charlie, yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, those courses can't teach you how to be funny, but I would definitely say for someone that wants to be a stand-up comedian, I would say go and do it, because you'll learn about the circuit and you'll just get to know new people and all that kind of stuff.
And you get set up to do a gig.
Basically, I mean...
I did Viv G's course.
Yes, I mean, that's the best one. I would recommend that. All the greats, Des McLean and the Reverend Obadiah and stuff, they've all done that.
Mark Nelson.
Yeah, Mark Nelson. But I appreciate Charlie, he was really good, because when I went to his course, I joined his course, and by the time I was in his course I did 12 Red Raws, and Charlie was like, you probably shouldn't be in this course because you've done 12 gigs, and I said, I'm completely clueless about the circuit. So Scottish Comedian of the Year was happening, and I never entered it because I missed the date, and he basically said, I know Alan Anderson, I'll get you to enter it. I entered it, I ended up getting to the final, but on that 10-week process of being in his course, I went from 12 gigs to 50 gigs while getting into the final of a competition, and then from the next year on I got nearly 200 gigs or something. So it's just a bit of luck, and it was just something to do on a Wednesday night as well. You meet new pals and all that kind of stuff, but I was saying like before I started doing stand up, I don't think I really ever drank,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would say when I started doing it, I've probably been dancing around. I mean, not now because I haven't had a drink in nearly 3.5 years.
Wow.
But stand up comedy in that circuit made me tiptoe around alcoholism, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
because it was just maybe a binge drinker at the weekends or football or something to drinking 4 or 5 days a week at gigs.
Yeah.
Or doing gigs, or like, oh, I need a pint for Dutch Courage,
Mm-hmm.
and then you do really well, and you're like, oh, I'll have 5 pints then because I've done amazing. But because I was a big guy as well, I could handle that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's not until you kind of look back and you're like, I was drinking 5 days a week there for fucking 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What made you stop drinking?
Sorry, that coffee, man. I had a horrible awareness. I keep all my diaries since I've started.
Since you started stand up?
Yeah, and I've tried to count up all my gigs, and I had this horrible feeling of, say I did something like 1,000 gigs, and I was like, oh my god, I've probably did 850 drunk.
Right.
So it was just a really horrible feeling of like, am I using this as a crutch? I want to be a professional stand-up. If I want to be a professional stand-up, I can't maintain this. It's never going to end well. So, and then I noticed as well, I was kind of turning into the funny drunk guy instead of the funny guy. And I was like, I want to stop that.
What do you think it was apparent when you were doing gigs that you were drunk?
Maybe. I mean, I was never fall down drunk, but I always went on with a pint.
Yeah.
You know. So I kind of had a self-awareness of like, I need to stop this. And plus you don't get paid much anyway. So maybe if I was doing a gig, it was 50 quid or something. I'm just drinking it at the bar after it. Or, no, I'm having like 10 pints and then a pizza and stuff, and I'm like, this is not going to end well. But I think over the last 3.5 years, it's evened out now. I've probably done more gigs sober than drunk. And that's been, even though I was saying to you that adrenaline and stuff is really, like, it can't be good. That is, like, to experience stand-up sober is good. You still get, I thought alcohol helped you with your nerves. It doesn't. You're just drunk and nervous. So now I'm just sober and nervous. I'd rather experience it sober. You know.
That makes sense.
So as well as giving up booze, you also went vegan, right?
Yes.
How did you get to that?
Well, I was a veggie one time. I was a vegetarian for 2 years when I was younger. I don't think I was doing stand-up at that time. I got a chicken curry for the Chinese, and I get really bad food poisoning. Like, I was floored for 2 weeks, had to go to the hospital, couldn't eat, was hallucinating and stuff. So see, when I got my appetite back, I remember going to my mum's house and she made me something outrageous. It was like a pot of stew or something. And I was just looking at it and I was just so disgusted. And I just thought I need a detox. So I'll go this for a week, and I ended up doing it for 2 years. But I was doing panto there. I started eating meat again, obviously, and I was doing panto there in December. And I was just like always gutted that I never kept up the veggie stuff. So I was pescatarian during panto, and then I watched Earthlings. And I was just like, oh, I shouldn't really be eating fish. But I continued to eat fish because I know that salmon and stuff is good for you. But then I got a tin of sardines from the supermarket one day, and it was just covered in bones. I was trying to eat it, and it was disgusting. And I just had a wee light bulb moment. I'm going vegan. So I've been vegan for 4 months. And it's been amazing. I've really enjoyed it. It's brought a lot of stability to my diet as well, because I'm a wild binger. I'm a binge eater. I think I'm just going to be honest as well. I think I self-harm with food and junk food, and I've got a problem with sugar and overeating and all that kind of stuff. So being a vegan has eliminated a lot of that. It's eliminated junk food, McDonald's,
Yeah.
kebabs, and
Yeah.
obviously chocolate and a lot of
There's
sugar.
a lot of milk powder and these things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
So do you end up cutting out a lot of sweets because there tends to be animal products in them?
yeah,
Right, okay. So that's a bit of a byproduct of cutting out
Yeah.
sugar's a bit of a byproduct of going vegan.
yeah, definitely. And it wasn't my first intention. I just realised that, because I'm always like, oh, fasting. I'll do fasting. Oh, I'll do this.
Mhm.
I'll do that. But sugar's always been in there. So I'm just like, you can still be vegan and really unhealthy. So I think it's 22 days I haven't had sugar. No sugar or fizzy juice
Brilliant.
or junk food, really. Because I kind of felt myself like, I'm 4 months a vegan, why am I not losing weight? And then I was looking at my diet and I'm like, oh, that's why I'm not losing weight, I'm still eating shite.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But I've definitely become conscious of that now. That see, I was a person that always tried to out-train a bad diet and stuff. And it's never going to happen. I've learned that the hard way. I mean, my cousin's a professional boxer, right?
Mhm.
He's had 5 professional fights and he's won 5 of them. And he stands there and he's like, you can't out-train a bad diet. And in my head, I'm like, yes, I can. I'm actually saying that to a professional boxer. It's just my warped mentality towards food. But I've got I've kind of got a hold of it now, and I enjoy being a vegan. Obviously for animal reasons and stuff, and I love that documentary Earthlings. But it's definitely been a journey of just self-discovery with it and stuff.
I don't think it's just you who struggles with removing things from the diet. I think it's one of my favourites, Georgia Ede. She's a doctor, she's a psychiatrist in America, and she talks about all the time about how, like, she tries to help her patients by cutting out the bad stuff, because a lot of people find that they go whole food plant-based and it works really well for them, and they cut out the junk and they feel great. So who can argue with that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like you said, you can be whole food plant-based or vegan and still eat loads of rubbish. And it's a human, what George Eade's point really is, it's a human trait to want a magic bullet, a silver bullet,
Yeah.
to add something, goji berries or the next superfood. Instead of taking the stuff away that's actually causing damage, you just want to be able to still, tan a pack of Jaffa cakes,
Yeah.
but then have a pack of goji berries to
God, man.
cancel that out or something.
Yeah.
It's really, that's the mentality that I certainly had,
Yeah.
and tried to out-train it as well.
Well, it can become a bit of a... I think if you start looking closely at what you eat and trying to, wanting to feel good due to what you eat, it can become a bit of a full-time job, right?
Yeah.
And you don't always want that.
Yeah.
And there's you can go so deep, right? And you scratch away one way and you realise there's so much more.
Yeah.
And I totally sympathise with wanting there to be a solution.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want it in the form of a pill or a supplement, because I like cooking and I like eating. But yeah, that sentiment I get.
Like, being told to remove things is hard to accept.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Surely I can just add a good thing and it sorts everything out.
Yeah, I can eat 10 fruit and veg a day and still have my Smarties for breakfast.
Yeah.
'Cause when you were saying that there, I could feel myself getting emotional actually, because it goes back to, for me, it goes back to childhood. It's early childhood and a constant cycle of just out training, and you were saying taking the berries on top of a bad diet. I would never have thought of cutting that out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that never entered my brain. Don't eat that.
Mm-hmm.
So even when I was younger, in 18 and 19, and started taking vitamins and stuff, which I've never stopped doing, but when I was younger I remember at one point I used to take 50 supplements, 10 fish oils and
Yeah.
vitamin D and just gorging on vitamins because I'm like, I'm unhealthy, I'm drinking, drug abuse, so take 50 vitamins and even it out. Or go into a sauna with a sweatsuit on. I used to do that all the time. Yeah, sweatsuits.
I remember I used to I used to laugh at your vines that you would do, where you would. I thought you were. I didn't know you actually did it in real life, but you were parodying yourself doing that because you would wear that. You would wear that silver sauna suit and put the dance music on, and then like get your. I don't even know if we can get vines anymore if they've
no,
saved
it's dead
them.
now.
But you would be like, you would have the vitamin pills and you'd be like taking like 100 of them at a time. Yeah, like, there we go. They were funny.
Pure manic. But
I didn't realise you were actually going into the sauna.
Man.
Yeah.
Full sauna suit on with a t-shirt underneath it.
Sweat out a few grams.
Yep. And
Yeah.
just I used to do boxing training. See the amount of times I've went from 19 stone to 12 and a half stone from the age of 18. It's been crazy.
Aye.
It's been often as well.
Right.
I go
And
to
short bursts kind of
yes,
thing.
yep.
Yeah.
To the point that people are like, "Is there something wrong with your thyroid?" But deep, which I used to think, yeah, there is. There must be something wrong with me, but it's not that. It's my relationship to food. I'll build it up like a treat scheme, like I'm a dog or something, or like I'll say, "Oh, I'll train for a month and lose 2 stone and be amazing." But on June the 19th, my birthday, I'm going to have 2 kebabs, and then I'll have 2 kebabs, but then I'll get a food hangover for that, and it's just, I think it's like an alcoholic drinking alcohol. When I put that when I put that into my body, I just fuck it. The fuck it button gets pressed, and it just leads to a month binge when I'm eating maybe a kebab every second night or a pizza every second night because I've been sitting in a sauna with a fucking sweatsuit on, starving myself. Intermittent fasting, you're supposed to do 16 hours, so I'm doing 36 hours because that's the warrior fast. That's the gladiator fast. I'm doing the gladiator fast, mimicking my cousin who's a professional boxer.
He's got all his nutrition dialed in already.
He's actually following a diet plan, but I'm doing 36-hour fast, getting up and going for runs at 5 in the morning, and there's no stability there. You can't maintain that. It's just wild.
What you're talking about building up a treat, it completely resonates with me with smoking cigarettes. So I used to, when I lived in China, I smoked 40 a day because they were so cheap over there, and everyone smoked everywhere. Like I saw a doctor smoking inside the hospital. It's like it's almost 2009. It's almost like a patriotic duty over there. If you don't smoke, then you're not with the party.
Right.
It's changing now. The kids at the school I worked at used to slag me for smoking so much.
Really?
Yeah, they were like, "You're gonna die." But
Did any of the pupils smoke?
I didn't see any of the pupils smoke. They probably did, but
Not around the school.
not around the school, and definitely not the girls. Like so, yeah, it's kind of there's a bit of this sort of attitude that if you're a woman who smokes in China, then you might be like morally corrupt. It's kind of a old-fashioned attitude. But you would see women in the evening strolling around having a smoke when no one was about and just for their enjoyment. But when I was smoking 40 a day then. I don't even know how you have the time to do that. You know what I mean?
That must be constant.
It is pretty much any free time you've got when you're not working or eating, you're more or less smoking.
Yeah.
So not good, but obviously very heavily addicted. And then when I got back, I was like, right, okay, I really need to start thinking about quitting. So I would go through little spells of trying to quit. And I was like, I thought I was like Sick Boy in Trainspotting, you could just stop whenever I want. And so I would. But then, like, a few weeks would go by and I was like, this is easy. And then I would start thinking about how I could legitimise having a cigarette. So I would start planning nights out, just so on the way to the night out I could get a 10-pack. Because it's just for a night out. So it's just a one-off. And so then I would just be straight back into buying 20 decks straight away. and it was much more intense for cigarettes than it was for food. But I have that with food. I've had that with food as well, and so now I've got. I don't know how you are with this sort of thing. You just said you've not had sugar in over a month.
22 days.
22 days. I find that complete abstinence is the only way that I can make sense of my own cravings and urges, because I don't have a very good self-control system for these things, and I've learned that the hard way just by doing it, failing so many times at it. And I think, like, for me, when I hear people talk about moderation when it comes to food, it's usually thin people who've never had a problem with it.
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason, they can take things in moderation. Sugar, junk food, it's just a treat to them. They don't think about it for the rest of the day. If I have a muffin, I'm just like muffin.
Yeah.
In my head after that.
Yeah.
I'm like, you could be talking about anything, I'm just thinking muffins, that's nice. And so I just have to not have cigarettes, not have muffins, not have booze, pretty much. I don't really drink much anymore either, because there was a time when I would start drinking, and then I would just drink all night, you know.
I can relate to you completely. Did the both of you not smoke now?
I never smoked.
You never smoked? Good man.
I had lung cancer when I was a kid.
Oh.
Been getting told not to smoke for a long time.
I forgot about that. I knew that, yeah.
You honestly had lung cancer?
Aye.
Wow.
I was dead young.
See, my weird stand-up comedian mind was like, that's a really sick joke you just said there. But I never realised you actually did. So how did that happen?
I got a tumour in my kidney.
Wow, man.
And then I got chemo and they took it out. And then about a year and a half later it came back in one of my lungs.
Wow, mate.
And then another one came up in my chest, in my lymph glands. So they took a big chunk of one of my lungs out and gave me chemo again. And then with the third one, I think they were a bit kind of stumped with it and tried a bit of a cocktail of drugs. And then radiotherapy. And
wow. And do you think that's how yours went into a career of like being a really good chef and cooking like real food and stuff? And
I've never related the two of them in my mind. And looking at the sort of nutritional side of food's only been in the last kind of year or so, I would say, actually.
Yeah.
It was me that dragged him into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant, though.
I would say there's scope for connecting up, but I haven't done it.
Yeah.
There's a part of me is kind of convinced that I'll get another tumour at some point inevitably.
Yeah.
So maybe there's maybe some preventative.
What age were you?
On with the healthy food thing. I was between 4 and 8.
I mean, that's what, like 50 years ago now or something.
Something like that.
Do you think that is?
It's too young for you to really
Yeah.
like before. I mean, I don't know what the threshold is, but before a certain age, and it's probably past 8, everything's just what happens to you. There's no evaluation of it.
Yeah. I'd imagine that's quite common with people who have had cancer. Like, you think you're going to get it again, but it'd probably be the same from someone who's been in a car crash or been mugged in the street.
Yeah.
It's probably 1 in a million chance of it happening.
Yeah.
But you know, because you've been through it, it's hard to convince even your own brain, even if you understand the statistics. I had cancer as well.
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah, testicular cancer
sake.
when I was 20.
Mate, I feel left out here, guys.
And I remember, like, for 10 years, that's how long they kept me under observation. I was like, right, when's it going to come back? You know, there'd be a shadow on the X-ray, and you would have to go and get an ultrasound or something.
Wow.
And then, you know, going to that appointment, steps getting shorter. You don't want to go.
Yeah.
I don't want to go. I need to go, because you think you're convinced.
Yeah,
That's it.
hypochondria goes into overdrive.
It's back.
Yeah.
But I know that for the type I had, after 10 years, it basically, the chances of it recurring just are basically the same as you. So
Yeah.
I mean, don't feel left out. There's every chance. No, actually, not that one, because that mainly affects men until they're like 20 something.
Yeah.
Are you 30 now?
31.
31, yeah. So you're fine.
Yeah.
Well, last time I was up in the hospital, the consultant was saying,
Would you still go?
I started going again recently. I stopped. They used to give me a kind of MOT every year. I think partly they were curious what the after effects were of some of the drugs, and what happens to someone who survives child cancer later in life. And so I used to get them, and then I stopped because it became reduced to a sort of 10-minute chat. And I was living elsewhere and it was a bit inconvenient, so I stopped going. And then I took it up recently. And she was saying, like you said, there's no more reason for you to get another one than any regular person.
With Darren?
But she mentioned you specifically.
Yeah.
And but she said at the same time, because of some of the treatment you had, that we know that it can raise the possibility of you getting more. It's a bit mixed message.
Yeah.
The two of you are looking fantastic, by the way.
Thanks.
Not that you could tell who has had cancer, but your mind instantly goes to, oh my god, cancer. That must be really bad. The two of you look fantastic.
Thanks. I got quite lucky. I didn't need treatment beyond surgery in the end.
Yeah.
They would have given me chemo, but they put me into this test, and a study to see if you got a type of scan called a PET scan, and it came back negative, would that predict that your cancer wouldn't come or be less likely to come back? So they put me in this study, got a PET scan, came back negative, and then about a year down the line they said, actually, people who got negative PET scans are just as likely to get a recurrence as people who got positive PET scans. Right. So we're stopping the study, but because you've gone so far without actually getting recurrence, we'll just observe you now and we'll not give you chemo. So I felt quite lucky because you don't want chemo really.
Yeah.
And then it never came back, so I got quite lucky in that respect, where it didn't take its toll. So it was just the surgery, which I was over in a couple of months.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I was reading somewhere recently, actually, there's cancer with the sugar thing as well. If you have cancer, they tell you to stop eating sugar. So
this is a really interesting area, and also very understandably very touchy, because the science is very new. So making any claims is difficult to base on existing evidence. There's some indication, it seems, that some cancers feed really well on sugar, but that's not to say that eating sugar necessarily feeds it, because even if you eat zero carb, your body creates glucose to feed the cells that need glucose. So it makes sense to try to starve cancers that feed on glucose.
Yeah.
But it's not as clear cut as just cutting down eating it. There's a guy, really interesting guy called Andrew Scarborough, who's got a blog. I've forgotten what it's called, but if you, I think it's My Brain Cancer Story or something like that. And he's got glioblastoma, which is an inoperable. I think it's inoperable anyway. It's always fatal. Brain cancer, but he's halted the progression of the disease by eating a very specific diet, which is basically extremely high fat, animal fat, quite low protein, because he didn't want to stimulate any blood sugar hikes that can sometimes, if you eat too much protein. That varies from individual to individual. It's so it can do in some people,
Yeah.
is my understanding. There's this reputation in the ketogenic diet community that eating too much protein is like eating a bit of chocolate cake, and it immediately leads to high blood glucose. But it seems more like it's a demand-driven thing. So there are some cells in your body that need glucose. If they're needing some, then they just tell the liver to make some, and it makes some from protein.
Right.
But eating a lot of protein, you see the data from people are able to wear continuous glucose monitors now, and some of them are eating carnivore, and they're eating high protein relatively. So you're talking a couple of kilos of red meat a day kind of thing, and their glucose is just flat. So it's complicated, and I think individual. But this guy Andrew Scarborough has halted the progression of his disease. He's using diet with a combination of bariatric chamber therapy. So it's like he goes in and the pressure's cranked up. And I don't understand the science of that bit, but
The air pressure.
yes, but he's doing really well.
Right.
You know, he's still going, which is amazing, because it's always fatal.
Yeah.
And other people finding that ketogenic diet can help with if you're getting radiotherapy or chemotherapy and the toll that takes on your body, eating a ketogenic diet can help mitigate the negative effects.
Right.
But beyond that, there's not much. It's just people talking about their experiences of it. It's a bit like CBD oil, you know? There's a lot of stories going around at the moment about what CBD oil can do. And fair enough, I think these stories are where science starts. It's someone going, well, hang on a minute, we think this, but actually if you do this happens. And then you have to test it like very carefully to make sure that it's not bogus, because you wouldn't want to give anyone false hope or say, like, there are people out there who are saying you don't need chemo or surgery, you can just take CBD oil, which is obviously just like really irresponsible.
Yeah, it's dangerous, isn't it? Plus, isn't it really expensive?
I think it can be, a lot of these things.
Because I've seen something like that happen recently. A very close friend of the family passed away with cancer, and he was going through chemo and all that kind of stuff, and he was taking the oil, which was something like $3,000 a bottle or something. But I seen the family kind of pin all their hopes on the oil, and it just reminded me of like the Wild West with snake oil and stuff. But in my mind, I'm like, oh, I love vitamins and all that kind of stuff, I might take that. But it was just really sad to hear people say you don't need chemo and you don't need this, just take this oil. And obviously it makes you feel better for a wee while. I don't know if it's just a what's it called?
Placebo.
Yeah, placebo. But he passed away, so I think I agree with you there. It's very, very dangerous to say just do this or just do that. Why can't you do them all? Yeah. You know, or whatever. Yeah. Even with the sugar stuff, like, it might not be a fact, but why don't you just cut out sugar anyway? Yep. And see what happens along with your other methods. Yep. Because cutting out sugar must be good for you, no matter what.
I think that's probably true. There's people who are saying to be quite careful about recommending ketogenic diets, even just as a sort of belt and braces, like, why not do it anyway type of strategy, because there's some cancers that seem to thrive on ketones. Yeah. So that you might be damned if you do, damned if you don't. Yeah. And I think the main message that I take from all this is, and I'm not trying to be facetious, but try not to get cancer in the first place. Yeah. And there's obviously a few things that you can do. This is an environmental disease. There's a few things you can do to control your own environment to stop you getting cancer. So not smoking is obviously huge. Yeah. And like some of the nutrition stuff, I read them like I think actually it was a guy called Joseph Kraft who wrote about diabetes. He basically said that, in his opinion, heart disease is diabetes. And he said, like, in his book, if you smoke, just put this book down because nutrition's not going to help you.
Wow, that is intense.
Yeah.
That's intense, man.
So, cancer-wise, getting rid of smoking is huge. Alcohol abuse increases your risk.
Yeah.
There's certain other things, and, you know, I think sugar and refined veg oils are probably candidates for promoting cancer growth in the first place. Yeah, but I mean, it's not very helpful to say, especially when it's so confusing, all the diet advice out there.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you remember Reeves and Mortimer doing their the Smell of Reeves and Mortimer, one of the TV shows, and they did a song called Trapped in My Flat. And then at the end of the song, Vic Reeves is like, now, if you do get trapped in your flat, try not to get trapped in your flat. It's like, you know, what's the best way to tackle dealing with your cancer? Try not to get cancer.
Yeah.
But it's not, but
Well, that was a bit silly, wasn't it?
that was a bit silly.
Yeah.
I get told by someone I used to work for, Sarit actually, who's the wife of, we had Itamar last week, a chef who used to work, and she told me that there's a good chance that I'd given myself the cancer as a
4
middle
years
child.
old.
Yeah, because her brother was
As a
in
middle
the
child.
same situation as me, or our family structure was similar.
Yeah.
Our brother was also a middle child and he had cancer, and she thought it was a kind of coping mechanism because, you know, a sort of form of middle child syndrome.
Wow.
But you willed it somehow?
Yeah, I willed it in order to get attention.
Wow.
That is a theory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's more of it on the mental side than the, you know, the physical issues like smoking or drinking or eating sugar and refined oils.
I wouldn't prioritise that necessarily as a reason for why it happened.
You're like, I can just picture you sitting on Santa's knee in a shopping centre. What do you want for Christmas, son? Cancer. Because I'm a middle child. Please leave the shopping centre. Get out, Damien.
Take this 20 deck.
Yeah, I do believe that your thoughts can make... I mean, I don't agree with what your friend said there, but, you know, I appreciate her honesty, but I think thoughts can make you sick, definitely.
Yeah.
Your mind.
There's a feedback loop with your psychology and your physical health.
Yeah.
It's pretty clear. Actually, there's a guy, I don't know if you know him, Malcolm Kendrick. He's a doctor who writes about heart disease. If I put him your way.
I don't know that I recall.
So he's got a blog that he writes mainly about heart disease, and he's looking for different causes. And one of the causes that he thinks is fairly major is in countries where they've had major upheaval, like warfare, the rate of heart disease is quite a bit higher.
Yeah.
So he's not quite sure whether that's a direct physical cause, like the psychological stress in itself leads to damage in your arteries, or whether it leads to poor food choices, or whether it leads to wanting to smoke, deal with the stress or whatever. I'm not sure if he's disentangled all those potential. So, but he, when you get stressed, like when you're a stand-up, you want to eat rubbish. You feel it's not even wanting to, but you feel like the stress itself is doing you damage.
Yeah.
And even that, what you were talking about, the cycle of binge eating, that is psychologically stressful.
Yeah.
And takes its toll.
Yeah, you feel like a failure, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I definitely, I mean, I have had depression in my life. I've been treated for it and I'm okay now. But there's been times in my life when I have said, I'm depressed, this is depression. But now I've realised it's been through binge eating, bad food choices, alcohol, which has made me feel depressed, which I just think is a chemical reaction to my bad diet. But I've just used that crutch of, I'm depressed. it's not until you eliminate all that and then you think, oh, I wasn't actually depressed. It was just awful diet. And I definitely feel, because I'm the exact same as you, Ali, I can't do cheat meals, I can't do treats, I can't do a curry on a Friday night. I do much better just eliminating it. And see, since I've eliminated fizzy juice, I mean, I'll have sparkling water with a wee bit of diluting juice, but I've eliminated like fizzy juice. Lucozade was bad, I was really bad for Lucozade. Chocolate and crisps, I feel a genuine increase in my happiness, in my mood, and I just feel better. I just feel better knowing that, oh, I can't eat that. Right? That's not an option. I can't eat that. That's good for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And I used to kind of count the days, like, oh, I'm only counting the days now because I'm on this podcast and I want to tell you how long I've been without it, but it's not an obsession. It's not like, oh, 22 days without a kebab. It doesn't feel like that anymore. It's just like, I can't eat that, and that's going to be my life from now on, hopefully.
It's a release.
Yeah.
And I think you hear some doctors, dietitians, members of the public talking about restrictive diets being a problem for folk because it's more likely to lead to failure. Which I think sometimes can be the case, like in keto community, people eat lots of almond flour cakes and stuff like that, which can be like a bridge away from a really shit diet. And it was for me too. But in the end, I just ended up eating loads of almond flour cakes. And so I'm just like tanking loads of almond flour. I mean, who's that good for? And and so I was forgetting what my point was.
About your like cheat meals and treats and stuff?
Yes, and some people saying that it's not a good thing to be restrictive. But for people like you and me, it's the only way. And that should be, I think, offered as an option to people to tell them, look, you might not be able to have cheat meals. And I'm sorry, and it's a hard truth, but I can tell you that once you get to the other side, you will feel relieved, and it will be like a release, and it won't be like a deprivation. It won't be like you're starving yourself of one of the joys of life.
Yeah. It'll
actually be like, why did I ever want to eat that all the time?
I know.
Do you think there's any kind of, you were saying where there's a cycle where you're feeling bad and you go to food that's not good for you. Do you think there's any kind of invert equivalent of feeling actually quite good and wanting to eat particular things? Like go to good foods, go to healthy foods. Like an upward spiral almost as opposed to the downward spiral.
I definitely feel that now.
Yeah.
So I think I'm in a good place and I feel good. I've been training quite a lot, back at circuit training, and I'm looking at like food. Like even the other day I was out for a meal and I was looking at a Diet Coke and I was like, I might just have that because, I'm having a meal. But then I thought, no, I'm not going to have that because I can't, there's no, like, that'll trigger a binge. It was the first time I've ever kind of thought, I feel amazing, I'm not going to treat myself with food, I'm just going to have what I know I can have. I definitely wouldn't. It's weird because I don't think, this is my personal opinion, somebody wouldn't, I don't think a happy person would eat a doner kebab and chips and cheese with sauce over it.
Gotta differ with you there.
Well, but like
so good.
well, fair enough. But like, I don't really know where I'm going with that. But I'm happy now. I feel good, and that's definitely changed my diet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely 100%. Because I do look at junk food like self-harm. Everybody's different.
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting. I didn't answer that.
Yeah.
So what foods, now that you're eating whole food, plant-based, what foods do you really relish, what you like? That's like, have you got some favourites that you like to eat?
Yes, I've been really getting into kimchi.
Oh, I like kimchi.
I love pickles
Mm.
anyway,
Yeah.
like pickled food in general.
You
Me too,
do not do
big
a
time.
line about that.
Yeah. I done a joke about pickles as well, but
That you used to always open with that, didn't you?
yes, that was my go-to. I'm not going to say it in the podcast because
That's fine.
it's pretty grim. But so when I was younger, I used to always eat pickles, and then I found out about kimchi,
Mhm.
and I never really liked cabbage
Mhm.
because when I think about cabbage, it's a big massive pot in my grand's house.
Mm.
She's been boiling it for 10 hours. All the taste is at it. Cabbage is just disgusting.
Yeah.
But this kimchi was just like, as soon as I started eating it, I was like, it's addictive.
Yeah.
There's something salty and juicy about it,
Mhm.
and I can instantly feel, I don't know if it's just my mind, but I
Mm.
just instantly feel better.
That's interesting.
Really?
But then I googled it, and then I found out about sauerkraut.
Mhm.
So I've been eating, I would say, every single day my diet's got sauerkraut or kimchi
Mhm.
in it
Really?
because I just love it.
Wow.
I love kimchi cult.
Mhm.
It's a wee Korean street
yeah.
food place beside in Woodland Road, so that's my go-to.
Mhm.
Chicken.
I've had the
Fucking
chicken for the.
incredible.
Oh, aye, man. Aye.
Is it
It's pure white.
Oh, man.
battered and fried?
Yeah, but how they get it that crispy, I don't know.
It's so white.
You can
as
even
well.
douse it in sauce and it's still crispy.
Wow.
It's remarkable.
Yeah.
Sure, there's wheat in there somewhere though.
Definitely.
Yeah. So they've got some really good. I mean, I was eating fish and chicken from there, but they've got amazing vegan options
Have
as
they?
well. Yeah.
They do the rice bowls, don't they?
Yep.
They're really nice.
I had a really nice salad in the one off Byers Road. It's, I can't remember what it was. Like some sort of like rice vinegar dressing.
Oh,
It was so good. I'm the same as you. Anything vinegar
Mm.
or fermented
yeah.
is amazing.
But I know one of your questions was, what's the last thing you ate? There's a falafel stand in the town that's called
Oh.
Falafel to Go.
I know what you mean. It's on, is it Renfield Street?
Yep. £3 for like a foot long falafel.
Yeah, tiny wee thing, isn't it?
Yeah. That was the last meal I ate.
Mhm.
It was last night after a meeting. It was a falafel and I put sauerkraut in it and wrapped it up and put some chilli sauce over it. But that's my go-to place. It's £3 for a falafel. I'm always there.
Mhm.
I've started drinking a lot of kombucha as well,
Oh,
like low sugar ones. There's a wee vitamin shop in the town. I think it's like a vegan. No, it's vegan friendly.
Mhm.
It's beside Nando's. I think it's Vitamins Herbs.
Right.
I don't know. Can't remember.
Is it off Sauchiehall Street
Yes.
in Douglas Street?
Yep.
I know the place. That's been there for like 25 years or something.
Yeah.
Where's Douglas Street again?
It's next to Nando's.
Quality Vitamins and Herbs. It's called.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've been getting kombucha from there. I take probiotics. I'm still taking my vitamins. I know I'm vegan, but I'm still taking fish oils
Oh yeah.
purely for the reason that I bought a year's supply of fish oils last year,
Mhm.
and I'm not throwing them in the bin.
Yeah,
I'm
fair enough.
not wasting things.
Mhm.
I've got a pair of Doc Martens on as well. I was speaking to. I'm not really a good vegan. I was speaking to a vegan and he's like, look, you've already bought that, so don't waste it.
Uh-huh.
So just use it.
Yeah.
And he said that with the fish oils as well.
Yeah.
Just use your fish oils.
Yeah.
Because I can get algae oil. I'll eventually probably get that when I finish my fish oils.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to waste anything. Definitely not wasting.
It's an interesting kind of point that brings up about the kind of tribal aspect of like what you're doing with your lifestyle. So it might not just be what you eat, because veganism is the lifestyle, whole food plant based is the diet, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, there's definitely parallels between the sort of vegan tribe and the low carb or paleo or whatever tribe, because you get nutters in both camps.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. And I think too many people in each like to think that there's no nutters in their tribe.
Mm.
It's all the other people that are nutters.
Yeah.
Whereas I think the best advocates of both recognise that they come at their opinion and decision from a different angle, a different set of priorities to people in the other groups. And who's anyone to say you shouldn't be doing what you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
I think uncovering new knowledge is great and good for everyone, but having as the first priority, I feel like everyone should be living and let living.
Yeah.
Yes. No judgment.
Yep.
Because you'll scare people away. That's why everybody mocks. I mean, vegans. You just think, oh, these are intense, really judgmental people. I actually started off trolling on Twitter. I called myself the vegan gorilla because I seen a picture of a gorilla on Instagram and they put underneath it, "Where do you get your protein from, bro?" And I was just like, that's so funny. I called myself a vegan gorilla. But then I thought, I'll just start eating this to see what it's like.
Uh-huh.
Maybe to get material from it as well. But then I just instantly felt better, and then it just triggered, like, when I was a vegetarian, it made me feel so good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say it probably started off as a joke, but then I started to actually feel really good. But then as soon as I looked into factory farming and stuff,
Yeah.
I mean, I know that you get your meat from better places than a supermarket. I just don't, because I worked in a supermarket for 10 years, and I just don't see how they're going to maintain that. I just, visually, I don't see factory farming is really disgusting. There's something disgusting about it.
It's a really interesting, that part of the discussion is really interesting. And I think I'm biased. I think I'm biased because, you know, the direction I came from was realising that eating in a particular way, which included a lot of animal products, made me feel a lot better, and I've seen, you know, other people say the same thing, so that's definitely my bias. To try and pretend otherwise would be stupid.
Yeah.
And so what I want to see is evidence that raising meat is fine for the animals until you kill them, and, you know, fine for the environment. But it's a very complicated thing, and, you know, all that stuff about factory farming, I think there's no doubt that there's places that do not treat the animals in a way that you would want animals to be treated, that anyone should really want animals to be treated. But there's also perspectives coming out which undoubtedly have their own bias. But for example, I was listening the other day to a podcast, Human Performance Outliers podcast, and Sean Baker, who's a doctor in America, who's like 6'5", deadlifts like 400 pounds, and his co-host is a runner who has got the fastest 100-mile time. It's like 12 hours or something, I don't know what it is, but it's like, yeah, just a machine. He's a really wee guy. And they're both pretty much carnivores. So you can see that's where their bias is going to come in, because they've got a vested interest in wanting to see the studies that support their position.
Yeah.
But they had this guy on who was an Irish vet who grew up in dairy farms. He said he wasn't going to inherit a dairy farm, so he decided he would become a vet so he could spend his life on dairy farms. And he moved to California, and that's where they do the most intensive dairy farming in the world. And he said that a lot of the videos that come out showing that say it's mistreatment of animals, like say a cow being dragged along the ground, he said if you discover a cow that's lying down, then you need to drag it along the ground to get it righted up again, because a cow lying on its side isn't like us lying on our side. A cow lying on its side will die after a certain amount of time, because it'll crush its own muscles. The videos you see of pigs that are in, sows that are in like little, I don't know what they call them, but unit stalls that mean they can only face forwards. He says that they're actually a huge innovation in animal welfare. And I was like, well, how's he going to justify this? And he said it's because sows don't have any maternal instinct really, so they just eat their young. So if you don't put them in a pen like that with their young for a couple of days so that the piglets can start taking the milk, then the mother will probably just eat them or sit on them or whatever. So they're in those for 2 or 3 days, and then they get put back into the general moving around places. where they've got a bit more kind of space. And he said, you know, chickens that are in cages, he said, they're actually oftentimes in better conditions than chickens that are allowed to move around a big yard, because you can't keep control of where their droppings go, but in a cage you can. You can also keep track of individuals, and that they have a certain amount of space to move around. So there's like all these different perspectives. I mean, he's a vet. He got into it because he loves dealing with animals and he loves maximising their welfare.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's loads of good points coming out of vegans talking about making sure that animals aren't mistreated, but there's also other perspectives around the whole thing.
I suppose a vegan response to what you just said might be that, well, okay, these innovations are mitigating bad conditions, but the problem is really industrial scale farming, right? Keeping that amount of chickens or that amount of pigs, and that's what leads to these innovations.
Well, to me, the problem is, do you agree that animals should be allowed to be bred into the world just for human food? And I think that, to me, is the main point of difference. You know, even if you gave them like penthouses with silk sheets, you'd still have to say you're going to kill them in the end for your dinner. Yeah. So is that what the argument's about ultimately?
Yeah.
I don't know.
My argument is I don't need to eat anything that's been killed now.
Yes.
But I look at the factory farming and I just see a grand scale of waste, and you walk into a supermarket and you see all these packets of bacon and you're like, is this getting ate? Is this getting used? There's too much, you know.
But that's really interesting.
Because I just see gluttony, like just total gluttony. There's no need for it.
Because there is waste, and a lot of the food in the West gets chucked, but the level of waste for fruit and veg is much higher than it is for meat.
Yeah. And
I don't know the exact reason, but it's quite a significant difference. Although a lot of meat's wasted as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I'll never eat meat again, but I know that I physically can't eat meat right now.
Mm-hmm.
The thought of eating it is making me feel it makes me feel ill.
Yeah.
But I had that thought when I was a vegetarian.
Yeah.
So I can never say never. But the way that I'm feeling right now, I can't do it.
Yeah. Why would you?
Yeah.
Why would you?
Yeah.
Was what age did you go vegetarian? You were quite young.
I think I might have been 23 or something. I'm not too sure. And then I broke it. I went to the Fringe and I was drunk. And I noticed my diet towards the end of vegetarian.
Fringe is so stressful.
Very, very unhealthy.
Yeah.
I went from 18 stone a vegetarian for 2 years. I went down to 14 stone. But then towards the end I was right up at 16.5 stone or something. I was just eating Greggs and all that kind of stuff, and I went to the Fringe, I got steaming, there was no food, I was just living off cheese and onion pasties, and I was exhausted, I was tired, I felt malnourished. See, for being morbidly obese at the time, probably morbidly obese, I felt so weak and tired, and I had a burger from one of these stands that were like, it's an ostrich burger or something. But because I never had meat for so long, I did feel sick, I felt ill, but the fuck it button get pressed, and 2 days later I was just back to eating meat.
Alright, was that it for a while?
Aye. What was it, man?
Yeah, my favourite people in the whole discussion are talking about how being honest with people about how they can help themselves and working within their own like set of priorities, you know, like who is anyone to say you shouldn't eat whole food plant-based?
Yeah.
On the basis of it making you feel great. That's all the reason anyone needs anyway. Never mind all the stuff that you think about animal welfare and all that, which is fair enough too.
Yeah.
And I think it's too much to ask for probably, because people are going to have their biases and they're going to have their tribes and their own sides and take on it. But that would be nice, I think, is for more and more doctors and nutritionists, people who look up to for advice, to say, look, there's all sorts of ways you can solve your unhealthy eating problems. Why don't you try them out and see what one sticks?
Yeah. I feel the best piece of advice I got when I started looking at this through you was what's the name of the guy with the website Burn Fat Not Sugar?
Ted Naiman,
right?
The doctor in Seattle, in Washington, I think.
Right. And his big thing was just prioritise nutrient density, and it was a bit of a light bulb moment. It was like, people have different notions of what to what to cut out, what to add in. There's different ideas about purifying your diet, and some people think, all right, I want to purify my diet. I'm going to cut out meat, or I'm going to cut out dairy, and his was just look at nutrient density, like just eat food that is full of nutrients.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple, and you can take that whatever way you want. You can go down a plant-based route or carnivore route, and I think meat is beef is the most nutrient dense food you can eat, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Is
from what I've
beef. Well, I mean, it depends how so you get into a little thing about nutrient density, because if you look at the way you calculate that, it would be the amount of nutrients you have over the weight.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so if you look at something like kale, then it's probably much more nutrient dense than beef, but you would need to eat 2 kilos of kale to get anything meaningful.
Yeah.
And who's going to do that?
Plus, kale tastes like human arsehole.
Yeah, maybe a bad example in terms of comparing them.
I'm saying I love kale on the basis of how you said that.
But no, totally. I think it's a very sensible thing. Like I think it's nitpicking, probably, to say that nutrient density isn't a decent way of approaching it. It's like beef, lamb, organ meats. They're really high in most nutrients and they're bioavailable, so your body takes them on really easily. And some people have no problem getting all the stuff they need from whole food plant-based that's supplemented and feel great on it by doing exactly the same thing, by focusing on, like, you end up with a sort of, like, you were talking about cutting out fizzy juice, and I heard someone talking about, stick to the edges of the supermarket. And, like, I don't know what it's like. So it's usually because that's where the fruit and veg is in the first bit.
Right.
And then the fresh produce round the back.
Okay.
It's probably the booze round on the right normally, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who knows where the
Booze
eggs
is
are.
at the back.
Aye. But I go into a supermarket now, I don't know what it's like for you, and I'm like, well, this even like the massive ones, I'm like, this could be the size of a tiny corner shop, and that would do it for me, because almost all of this stuff I'm not going to touch. It's processed, it's highly processed, it's just basically sugar, flour and veg oil, or it's bottles of fizzy juice. I don't really eat dairy either now.
No, good.
No, it doesn't. Just doesn't agree with me.
Yeah.
I also think it's a wee bit strange. Like the whole thing about paleo is that it's meant to be you're eating like when we evolved as humans.
Yeah.
Which kind of the logic is that means that our bodies are adapted to that, and you can't imagine a situation, or if you imagine a situation before we kept animals, when we would be drinking milk as adults, it's kind of a funny picture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because we don't need milk.
No, milk is so full of nutrients and growth hormones, because it's meant to grow a tiny mammal into a big mammal, and then once you're done, you don't. I think some people seem to tolerate it fine.
Yeah.
When it's full of nutrients, but it would be strange to see an adult human getting milk
Yeah.
if they didn't have animals.
Puts a new spin on got milk.
Yeah.
Plus, you can get hemp milk and almond milk and stuff. So, see if you wanted
Stuff in your tea or
chocolate
whatever.
milk or something, you
Yeah.
can just get some of that. But I've been using hemp milk.
Oh yeah, what's that like?
To be honest, it's tasteless. But
Right.
milk is tasteless to me.
Is
Regular
hemp milk kind of is it a creaminess?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's good to. I've been having oats in the morning for my porridge,
Mhm.
and when it's made, I just put a wee bit of hemp milk over it to just mix it up.
Mhm.
But it's the same again. I've got Manuka honey
Mhm.
that I'm just not going to throw in the bin.
Mhm.
It's fucking £40 a tub. Do you know what I mean? So I've been getting a wee bit of Manuka honey, putting that in my porridge, with hemp milk, and taking my vitamins and having a litre of water and maybe a black coffee, and then that's me until lunch.
Yeah.
But I'm going to cut it all out. See, hemp milk and almond milk and stuff. I'm just going to cut it out because I can have a black tea. I can have black coffee.
Yeah.
So I don't need it.
Yeah.
It's not like it's delicious. It's all tasteless.
Yeah.
Apart from the almond milk, it's a wee bit nutty.
Mhm.
But
I've tried making that myself.
yeah,
You soak the
making it,
almonds. You soak the almonds overnight and then blitz them with water, and then strain it through a cloth, and you end up with almond milk. It's all right. It's pretty much the same as what you buy, so there's not much point really unless you have almond trees.
Yeah.
'Cause otherwise, like I feel like almond milk's probably not that environmentally friendly, really, is it? 'Cause all the almonds
Yeah.
You
in
chuck away,
California, and
Yeah.
you can use the almond meal that's left over for something that needs that ground up nuts, but you've taken quite a lot of the goodness out of it, I suppose.
Have you tried making kimchi?
No, but I'm interested. I'm really, really fascinated about it.
Yeah.
I've been watching documentaries online about kimchi farms, and
Right.
there's something really peaceful about it and nice, and it looks like there's a spiritual side to it and stuff. But yeah, mate, I'm up for making it, definitely.
I've made it a couple of times and I've only ever used the one recipe. It was great. It's dead simple. I was a bit scared of it.
Yeah.
But this is straightforward and it tastes amazing.
Oh mate.
It's actually Danny, the guy who runs Kimchi Co.
Yeah.
Told me about this. It's a website. What's their name? I can't remember, but I'll look up and send it to you. Right?
Thank you.
There's so loads of recipes. It's a brilliant database of recipes.
Definitely.
And there's a wee video that goes with it.
So all different kimchis, all different
She's got a
fermented
few
stuff.
different kimchis. It's just Korean food. She's a Korean woman, lives in America.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
appreciate
so-
that, mate. Because they do vegan kimchi as well.
Do they?
I eat both.
Right, so this is the fish sauce, isn't it?
Yeah, I eat both, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
So I could go in. I'll go into Kimchi Cult and I'll get the vegan bimbap,
Right.
and they'll give you vegan kimchi with it,
Mhm.
but I'll get a side of regular kimchi as
Right.
well, because both of them are delicious to me.
Yeah.
I know it's got fish oil in it, but come on, to fuck. You know what I mean? How hardcore do I want to go with this?
Yeah,
I just don't want to eat factory farming food.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's great because it lasts forever. You make a big batch, stick it in the fridge, and it gets better and better.
It makes me feel superhuman.
Does it?
I don't know if I'm just like that with pickles in general, but I'm
Well,
just like,
fermented foods really good for you.
mate, because I'll be honest with you, it's through a lot of kind of hearing like Joe Rogan speak,
Mhm.
and then Instagram, just putting in gut health into the search bar,
Mhm.
and just reading all this stuff, reading that I've heard you are what you eat, but I've never really took it seriously. But then I was reading that your gut is like a second brain, so something happened in my mind, and I was like, this is why I'm feeling shit. I'm feeling shit because I'm eating shit.
Mhm.
So I've been heavy in the probiotics, pickled food, and it feels so good. I feel amazing, man. It's cheap as well.
Mhm,
See,
it's
for a
cheap.
jar of sauerkraut at a Polish supermarket, it's £3.
Yeah.
You can eat it every day. It's
Yeah.
amazing. I love it, man.
Yeah, I love fermented stuff. I can't remember now that if you can get vitamin K from fermented stuff. I think you can. I think there's you don't hear about vitamin K very much. I think sometimes it means ketamine, doesn't it? But you need vitamin K to kind of tell your body how to use minerals. So
Alright.
vitamin K can be really preventative and can help reverse calcification in the arteries, so heart disease.
Right.
Wow.
And I don't know if you've heard of the researcher Weston Price.
No.
He travelled around the world in the early 20th century looking at traditional societies, and he found that he did lots of tests on them, sent samples back, and their nutrient status was really good. And he found that there was this thing in their diet, I think, rather than their blood tests or whatever. I don't know if he did blood tests, but there was this thing in their diet which he called Activator X. So it was like this mystery ingredient that he thought was really vital in keeping their health good. And it turned out this was vitamin K.
Oh.
That's what they ended up calling it. And you get it in fermented foods. You get it in hard cheeses. And you get it in smaller amounts in like meat. I can't remember if you get it in fish. But the one that it's highest in, that's highest in it is a Japanese food called natto. You ever had natto?
No.
So you get little beans, and you put this bacteria in there, and creates this fermented bean sort of goo called natto, and it's really high in vitamin K2.
Nice.
But it's not that stuff doesn't taste good like sauerkraut or kimchi does. It tastes kind of like ammonia. It's got a sort of ammonia hit.
So it'd be good if you mixed it in with something.
Yeah, exactly. You can get it from places in Glasgow,
Yeah.
do it frozen. I used to get it a little bit, but it's soybeans they use, so like they don't agree with me. They sort of give me a reaction, so I don't eat it anymore. But I'm really interested in vitamin K and fermented stuff.
Do either of you know anything about the chemistry of fermentation, like why it makes stuff good for you?
No.
I know that the fermentation is is bacteria, right? That's converting what you've got into something new plus waste products, and that one of these sort of almost byproducts of it is the vitamin K. I think other people talk about the fact that it's a lot of fibre as well, and that's an interesting discussion about whether fibre is actually necessary or not. So there's a lot of people eating 100% carnivore now, and they're finding that their health's got really good, and they're sort of people are like, oh, you need fibre. I'm like, well, I don't. Seemingly, what's going to happen? Who knows? But I know what you mean. When I eat fermented foods, I feel really good. Yeah. I don't know what it is.
Could you describe the way in which you feel good? Is that a mental thing or physical or a bit of both?
When I noticed the first time I started eating kimchi and drinking kombucha, it was almost like a euphoria.
Yeah.
Like mild, obviously not bipolar, but it was like a low level euphoric happiness. And I think it was just because I was eating so much rubbish, and then maybe I had all this goodness in my body.
Yeah.
But
No.
I remember saying that to my pal. I was like, I actually feel euphoric, and I was googling it, and I think that can happen. That can be. I don't know if it's a side effect or whatever, but definitely like instant happiness and all that kind of stuff. And there's something addictive in it as well, because I eat it and I'm like, I want more.
Really?
Yeah. With kimchi.
What's the best thing you make with kimchi, do you think?
When
I remember putting it on a cheese toastie and it's fucking great. But I guess that's not.
See, that'd be amazing. That does sound amazing. Anyhow, I'm like, I'd fucking eat it with shite, to be honest. It's that good. No, but like,
we'll get you back on the podcast and we can arrange that.
I've had it. See those noodles. I can't remember the name of the noodles. They sell them in kimchi cult, but I've been getting them from Chinese supermarkets. Just a big bowl of noodles and then a couple of spoonfuls of kimchi in it. Mix it up, wee bit of pepper, bit of Himalayan salt and maybe garlic,
Mhm.
some garlic in it, and that's lovely. I haven't had it with anything else that's not been Asian food,
Right.
but that's not been on purpose.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else I would have it with. But to be honest, if I had a jar in the house, I'd eat it out the jar. Yeah. But sauerkraut, I've been eating that with everything.
Mhm.
Sandwiches, or I'd put that on a vegan pizza or whatever. It's no bother.
That's good. On a sandwich, is it good in a sandwich?
Yeah.
Who cooked when you were wee?
Oh, this is a question now. My mum was the cook in the house. Definitely, my mum. But a weird environment because I've got 3 older brothers,
Okay.
and my dad and my mum cooked for everybody. But you know, stressful life being a mum. I can understand that. So she was cooking dinners at different times and being stressed, and
Because people were out at football and the other one wasn't and all that.
yeah, so she just kind of made what was there.
Mhm.
Or if I came back from primary school, the dinner was on the table when I wasn't hungry.
Mhm.
But I think she's got, is that a famine mentality?
Mhm.
When she was younger, better eat your food because that's the only dinner you've got.
Yeah.
So I found myself eating dinners when I wasn't hungry. But I'm not having a go at my mum, but because she was stressed, I think she never knew what portions were. So I can look back now and I'm thinking, as a child, I was probably eating a dinner that was too big for a fully grown adult man, never mind a child.
Mhm.
You know, big plates of mince. And I always remember, see, when I was getting a wee bit older, like 12, 13, 14, and started taking an interest in what, like, I'm going to start cooking for myself.
Mhm.
Even when my mum made mince, like, see in a packet of mince it says like cook for 45 minutes, she would cook for like an hour and a half. It was always like unbelievable amounts of time cooking wise. So if I've always hated mince and totties because of childhood, because by the time it was on the plate after my mum cooked it, it was completely tasteless. Like, I can't taste anything for this. So I think any nutrients or anything that was in it was just boiled away, to be honest. But my mum was the cook, but my mum was the cook.
Mince and ties is like my favourite childhood meal.
Well, your
I
mum
don't really know
probably
how she
cooked
made
it well. Boiled it.
Don't know.
My mum
I mean,
made
it was
mince and
mince and
sandwich.
Bristol with
Yeah.
onions.
My mum's would have been very similar, I think. Mince and Bristol. She made a really good fish and chips.
Yeah.
She used the Ruscoline breadcrumbs, orange breadcrumbs for the fish. Really liked them.
Yeah.
My mum had to deal with me, who was like the fussiest eater in the world. She actually got pulled up at my primary school. They thought, so I would only eat a dry roll and what's it called, Ribena.
Wow.
And so they pulled her up. They pulled her up because they thought she was neglecting me. And she was like, "Listen, you try your best to get him to eat something."
Yeah.
Because I was very, very fussy. Until I started working in restaurants. I started working in a fancy restaurant in Glasgow when I was 16. And as a sort of part-time job. And I was like, what is this? All this food, all this like shellfish and seafood and stuff. I've never seen the likes.
Yeah. Totally taste bud sensation.
Yeah. I was like, what have I been doing all this time? I used to have like my idea of like a culinary adventure at that age was a microwave frozen doner kebab. I used to get from the supermarket.
Farm foods?
Probably Safeway.
Yeah.
And it was like a treat for me. Sometimes I'd have 2 in a row.
Yeah.
Horrifying. You know, like ready to go doner kebab. So it's the bread with that spongy doner meat and the onions all frozen together.
Yeah.
Oh,
You imagine what that tastes like after it's been nuked in the microwave. And that was like my favourite thing for a while.
it is interesting to see, because I've got a son who's 9, and he's eating apples pretty good because my girlfriend's a chef as well. And I mean, he's just, I don't know, I guess we're lucky, he likes nice stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because he's just always been given it a lot, but I sometimes worry, it's really important to instill good habits at this age. But then you think back on what you ate as a kid, and I remember eating loads of shite, and like coming home from school and just eating about 5 mini pizzas,
Yeah.
a frozen one.
Yeah.
And it kind of that massive an influence, on what you come to eat as an adult. I think it remains as memories and fondness. And
Yeah. But it's good that you're giving them good food and stuff, and I think it does help, because when I think back in my childhood, I never had a good childhood with food. I wasn't aware of nutrition or health, and years in high school as well. We live, the school is near a town centre,
Mhm.
and there's a chippy there,
Mhm.
Chinese. So every lunchtime you're going down and getting a Chinese meal deal, which was a big tub of rice with chicken balls and chips and curry sauce. You're gorging on that.
Yeah,
You're going in a Morrison's and getting a full packet of donuts,
yeah,
and then you're going up the road and getting your dinner as
Yeah.
well.
it's dreadful.
Even when I started going to the gym, I think I started going when I was 17 and used to go to the gym and then have a chippy after it. Just did not know that you're not supposed to do that.
Aye.
I never knew that. Nobody told me that.
Yeah,
I remember, this is when I first became aware of what do these words mean, because I was a doner kebab diet. That's what I ate 4 times
Frozen?
a week for the chippy. 4
the
times a week.
connoisseur.
And I was getting chest pains when I was younger, and I went to my GP and she weighed me and I was 19 stone. I even remember sitting in the GP surgery with a can of Iron Brew and a pie for Greg's, and it was just a humiliating thing. What have I been doing? She was showing us this chart of veg and all that kind of stuff, and I was just what is that? Just no aware. Kind of forgot where I was going with that, but
No, I was kind of similar with in terms of education.
Mhm.
Even if you do happen to get a message about it when you're young, it's a mixed message.
yeah,
We're told all sorts of things. One week it'll kill you, the next week it'll save you,
yeah,
and in the end you just go, you know what, I'm just gonna eat what I want,
yeah,
and that's often left to who's advertising hardest at you, who's got the most space in the high street, which is Greg's or Nestle or whoever's selling
yeah.
the chocolate or whatever.
Yeah.
So what chance do you have?
That's true. I used to do wrestling training when I was younger.
Oh yeah,
Olympic wrestling.
grappling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even my coaches never told me about my
Wow.
diet.
Wow.
I just get put. If I was heavier at the time, I just wrestled heavier people.
Uh-huh.
They never said you need to eat healthy, you need to watch what you're doing. I never get told anything like that. I went to the boys' brigade for about 15 years.
Yeah.
And
Which is like the Scouts, but
Yeah.
sort of a Christian angle.
yeah,
I went there for a couple of years myself.
and nobody ever told me about my diet.
Mm-hmm.
So I never had that from anyone in my life until I started getting chest pains and I went to the doctor.
It's mad that it got that far.
Yeah.
I reckon the good thing about the internet, one of the good things about the internet is the share of information leads to conversations like this, because we might never have talked about nutrition if we just knew each other through stand-up, seeing each other in person.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that we do different ways of eating hasn't stopped us from having a really interesting chat about that sort of thing, which I think is really good. And I reckon that, I say this all the time, but you can't put the genie back in the bottle, and everyone's talking about it now,
Yeah.
more and more, and so people, at least when you've got the information, you know if you're going to go to the Italian place for the chippy for lunch at school, that you are making a bad decision.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a mystery anymore.
Yeah.
I reckon if that's like the main thing that comes out of this podcast, that'd be great. If people just feel more aware of what they're eating.
Definitely.
I think we should probably wrap it up. It's 90 odd minutes.
No questions left?
I think so, unless you've
wasn't
got any
really-
for us.
I wasn't really looking at the stock questions.
That's probably a sign of a good conversation.
Yeah.
We didn't have to fall back on it.
No, when I asked you about the group, I was just curious.
Alright, okay. But I'd like to say my obviously my go-to meal was a kebab.
Aye.
There's a chippy beside my house called Gulls.
Right.
And when I was feeling bad,
Yeah.
that was my meal. It was chippy chips with doner meat, raw white onion, cheese and sauce. And I probably had 4 of them a week.
Wow.
Until I thought I was going to die. But aye, that's it.
It's cheap,
I want to
it's
say
tasty,
something in favour of the humble kebab because it's been getting bashed a bit here.
yeah.
I think it can be wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like nowadays. I guess. In fact, you know what? Fuck it. I wouldn't take away the wrap. I would just go for it.
Yeah.
But you know, it can have slow roasted fatty meat is amazing.
With the salads
nice fresh
that they
salads, like tasty sauces like I don't know, tahini, yogurt sauce, garlic sauce, nice spicy chili tomato sauce.
Oh.
You can't beat it.
Yeah.
do. You could
I love
probably
how you're looking at me directly in
the eyes.
like a challenge. That's not fair. Where can people find you to hear what you're talking about? I don't mean like